Happy Friday, everybody. It was a crazy day in the market. Obviously, what was going on with GameStop and other stocks was heavily influencing the market. We did see the market trade the past 2 days fairly much to the downside. The market roughly giving up about 1,100 points. We came, excuse me, about 1,200 points. We closed roughly at around the 30K, basically held the that little bit of a resistance that we had right here. Towards the end of the day, let's look over at the 5 minute chart. At the 5 minute chart, we roughly pushed back to about 30,200. You can see the market kind of stalled there. So you'll see that here and over here. And that's roughly because if you look at the chart on the daily, I've made a little notation. You can see it right there. So for most of these trading days, the market basically came to 30,200, backed away, that kept moving back and forth. We were in a really tight 200 point channel, and of course the market quickly gave up that level of support, and then during the trading day, towards the end of the day, it became an area of resistance, which you can note when you're looking at the 5 minute chart. You should be able to see that right here and over here. So that area of 30,200 will be an area of contention coming next week. So that's what you will want to pay attention to if you're following the Dow. If you're following the Dow and you're wanting to know where your support and resistance are going to be, we're sitting at our resistance. We're sitting in that channel of roughly 200 points between 30,000 and 30,200. And we sat there for multiple days. So that's basically what you're going to be looking for over the next couple of days. On the SPYs, on the other hand, on the daily, the low end on the SPY is 364. So the SPYs have a pretty far way down to go before they hit their level of resistance. Not too much resistance over here. I would say if you're playing stocks that are typically in the S&P, you're going to be looking for a break below 364, and then your next one is going to be right here at 356. I'm not sure if the market's going to get there. We'll have to wait and see. Things that I did buy. So for the end of the day, if you don't follow me on Twitter, I do post at the end of the day, because this was my second buy. I bought in the morning at 9 o'clock. And then, of course, as the market traded, I basically grabbed what I thought were some of the good deals that were out there, as well as, of course, during the daytime, I will call out the supports and resistances, either on the whole market, of course, or for particular stocks. So at the end of the day, we did have some last minute activity. As I said before, I did buy in the morning. I did add a little bit of gain, JP Morgan, Maine, and of course Walgreens, primarily dividend plays that I was looking for. And then of course, again, at the end of the day, where I bought a little bit of IBM, Abivai, Wells Fargo, CRM. Again, most of these stocks I've either called out in terms of support and resistances. And so I try to buy as close to those areas. And of course on M1, you really can't put in limit order. Obviously, you can't put in limit order, so you basically kind of get marketed in. For the month, looking at we're still up fairly well. For the month, we pulled off 270 in terms of dividends. We're up 1,800 for the month. Again, for the month, not too bad of a gain, a 4% gain. I'm looking to kind of push this to about 60K, so I'm looking to make about 9%. Or so for the coming month. So I'm gonna have to be pretty good in my picks. Some of the stocks I was looking for, Abivai, of course, coming down. It's got earnings in 5 days. We see a little bit of a pullback for the most part, even on a harsh day like today. Abivai really not down too much. So I had been wanting to get back in Abivai. Originally, I bought it down here in the 80s. And I sold it just before it broke 100, as I was actually trying to build a little bit of a position down here, and it just ripped up, and I really wasn't able to add to it. So I was like, you know what? When I see Abivai pull back, I want to at least try to initiate a small position on whether I can get 1,000, 1,500, 2,500 into the stock, because it does pay a fairly good dividend. It's $1.30. It's got earnings coming up. So there's going to be a little bit of price fluctuation. So I figured it was a good time to basically get in. I talked a little bit about CRM. CRM, again, on a very harsh day like today, barely down. It did come down as far as 223. And so I put in a little bit of an order. Again, we're trading in a little bit of a channel. I think CRM is going to pop out above 230, and we may retest 270s. And so I wanted to put in a little bit more. Let me see how much I have so far of CRM. Basically adding a little bit more to my position for today. Gonna have to wait and see if I get a little bit more time, if we trade in a channel for a little bit more. I do want to allocate maybe an additional $800. I roughly put in for typically most of my risk plays. Right now I'm working with about 2,500 in most of my plays, to maybe 3,500. I probably would max it out to about 5,000. Baba is another one that I had been speaking about ever since it came down off the disappearance of Jack Ma, off of whether or not the company was going to be delisted with the previous presidency. And we saw, again, trading in a little bit of a channel, popped out again. So on the pullback, we were down quite a bit, and it was a good buying opportunity for me. I was hoping to that the stock was going to come a little bit closer to 250s. We did hit as low as 252, but again, can't put in limit orders, kind of at the mercy of the market with M1. So unfortunately, like if I was playing typically in like my TD account, I do have a TD account where I can put limit orders in. So obviously it would be much easier to be able to pick these points a little bit better. But we're basically working with what we got. Baba, I do like looking for what it looks like. Originally I said 270. It looks more like 266 is where Baba could basically pop out. You should be able to see right here. We're 266. We were trading in a channel. We saw some retesting of 266, and pretty much the same thing kind of right here, and of course over here over the past couple of days. So Baba could easily move from 266. We could see, of course, a retest over time back to 270s, giving us about another 18% or so of gains. We'll have to wait and see over the next couple of weeks or months how that is going to work out. IBM, I did add a little bit. Especially, like I said, on a harsh day like today, IBM just really wasn't budging. And for the most part, it was actually up until just about, I say, when the market was down like around 400, and then once the market really started to sell off, where we were down 607 points, then I started to watch IBM start to sell off a little bit. And so I was like, you know what? IBM not really selling off. For the most part, I think IBM will retrace back up. So I bought a little bit more. Again, another good dividend play, slightly undervalued, or slightly undervalued. They're looking to make some changes over the future. As you can see, it's been, again, trading in a channel. So buying at the low of the channel is basically where I want to initiate my position. If it comes down to 216, I'll buy a little bit more. And then I would wait. If a break below 216, I'd have to wait for the stock to reset, create another channel, and then I would look to take another position. But I think that we will see some trading to the upside outside of the past 2 days where we've had some fairly big losses in the Dow. It looked like it was going to be trading higher. As you can see, stock traded all the way to 124 intraday 2 days ago. We came above 124. So there's definitely people who are looking to buy IBM. So that's great. Even if we do stick within that channel, I'm long at about 118. And of course, if we trade anywhere in here, I've made some money basically on the appreciation of the stock, and I've got the dividend moving forward. I've got a nice, a little over 5%, almost 5, a little more than 5.5% from where I'm long. So nothing to complain about. In terms of my portfolio, you can see it here. So I do track my portfolio, and I basically just kind of fix it at the end of the month after I put in all my buys for the month. And so this is where my portfolio is at. Currently, we're sitting with about 4,000 in gains with a 6.8% yield. Our yield on cost is 7.43, which is really good. And of course, our annual income is about almost 3,500. And so for at the end of the month, that brings me to roughly almost 290 on average of dividend income. And I said before, my goal for the year is 500. So of course, I've got to 1, pick good positions. 2, I've got to pick good prices. And so of course, just because I'm dollar cost averaging in, I still want a dollar cost average in at the best possible price that I can, which typically means that I've got to be patient. I've got to basically see my supports and resistances, try to build up a position, watch for breakouts, and of course, buy on the pullback. that was basically my update for the month. Like I said before, not too bad. We would have been a little bit better. This is my excuse me. Let's go back to the actual portfolio. So like I said, not too bad for the month. 270 in dividends with about 1555 in capital gains. Overall, roughly up 4%. So not doing too bad. The month of February, we're not really going to see a whole lot of dividends. I think I'm going to get about $70 for the month. But the following month, we could take a look at that here. Let's go to upcoming dividends for my current portfolio so I can see where we're at. So like I said, not really going to be too much for the month of February. But March, we'll see some really nice gains. We'll take a look at that in a second. You can see it here. So yeah, we're looking at about $94 for next month. But again, for the month of March, we're going to see about $438 of passive income. And so I do put a lot of hours in at the hospital. I do swing trading. I still have, you know, my M1 account. I've got my Webull account that I manage, as well as my my TD account, which was my original retirement. And then of course I have my other Roth IRA with M1. So there's quite a few accounts. Put in a lot of work basically managing all these accounts. I'm basically just working forward, you know, pushing forward with my goals that I've talked about in my goal video. I'll leave that link up either in the description or up top. You might see it. It's important to set goals so that you basically have something to shoot for. So sometimes maybe you've got a job and you've set goals for yourselves. You might have to do some overtime. You might have to pick up maybe a second job or a part-time job to basically hit those goals. And of course, you know, if you're not, you know, through the stress of it all, when you get challenged, there's opportunities, of course, for growth. And that's basically what I'm looking to do with my portfolio. Really looking to hit that 500 average a month of passive income for my account. Capital gains will come, but primarily what I'm looking for, as I'm looking to live abroad, I'm looking for a solid account where I'm going to maintain my principal and it's going to bring me a steady cash flow. Also this year, we're looking to do some real estate purchases. Of course, that's going to be abroad. My goal is to, of course, live abroad. And so for this year, I'm looking to buy at least 3 apartments abroad. It's going to cost me around about 37 to 40K for each apartment. I'm looking to probably get at least 2 or 3 of them. Hopefully I'll end up with 3 of them. We'll have to wait and see what goes on with this year. Putting in a lot of work, but we're going to leave it there. It's going to be a long weekend. I'm thankfully off this weekend, so I'll get a little bit of relaxation. I put in a lot of overtime at the hospital, so a little bit tired, looking to recharge and refresh, come back next week, come in strong. I've got a lot of positions in my Webull account that I've got to watch, like APXT. I bought some UWMC that I'm down in. Like I said, APXT, Tattoo Shift, TTCF, and I've got a couple other positions that obviously I was holding overnight down in. So we'll see if the market is going to trade, if the market is going to be trading higher for the coming weeks. Otherwise, I'll be holding those positions a little bit longer. But that's basically going to be it for this video. Feel free, of course, you could follow me on Twitter, and of course, if feel free to like, comment, and subscribe to this video. If this is your first time here, be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on future content. And I'll check you out next time. Hope you guys have a great week. Thanks for watching.